everybody. We are here live with Chris to talk money. One of my favorite topics. How are you
Love
doing,
it.
Chris?
I'm excited. How's everyone doing?
Everybody is good.
Good.
Yep. How about on your end, in your part of the world?
I would say that there are 6 feet on the floor, so that's a good thing, right? London is
Yeah.
starting to try and walk. Actually, she's starting to run before she can walk by herself, so that's always a good thing.
And that's good. So she's going to be a soccer player or a
There you go.
football player. Yes.
She's gonna be something. Definitely gonna be something.
That I know too. Yep. Well, I tell you, I miss that little gal so
Yep.
much. I can't tell you. Yeah.
She tends to have that effect on people.
Yeah, she does. So we're gonna switch the topic. Otherwise, we're just gonna talk babies.
Yep.
Yep. So how do you want to start our talk about money today?
So I actually had something that came up with one of my clients, and I thought that would be something that we could discuss today. It centers around delayed gratification. So what does delayed gratification mean to you, Tanya?
Waiting for something versus needing it now.
Okay. And so when we're in the mindset of money, a lot of the time, what mind frame along that note are we typically thinking on? Are we delayed gratification? Or are we, I want it now?
You're asking me personally?
Yes.
I want it now.
Sure. I want it now. Okay.
No, delayed gratification is waiting for something and waiting to be excited, and then waiting for that excitement and that feeling of I have it, and we're waiting for that, versus I want that, I want it now, feeling the the hormones that come with buying something now.
Yeah. And there's the benefits of, or the balance between both, right? Like there's
Right.
the people that will argue, live your life now, you never know how many days you have left. And then you have the people that are like, plan for the future. Otherwise, if you don't, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right?
Right.
And the idea is that it's all a balance. There's no right or wrong way to do it when you think of it as balancing. But if you go all in on today and you end up living for 100 years, then we got a problem. And if you
Yeah. I want to be 108.
If you plan on living for 100 years and you don't do stuff today and you die in a car accident tomorrow, like that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's the balance between having both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's the both and.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so what transpired with my client was we set up a financial plan that had kind of like the base model, right? So you go look at cars and you're like, okay, I can spend 16 grand or whatever, right? I can spend 20 grand, I can spend 30 grand, but you have your base line, right? So your life needs to function. You need to pay all your bills. You need to have a little extra, put in the savings. You know, saving for 401k,
Yeah.
whatever it might be, and then putting some into a savings account. Once you set that all up, the next question becomes, okay, I've got my base. What model do I want? Do I want like the second level model, like this trim, or do I want like the maximal trim? Like, what do I want on my car?
So you knowing that I just bought a car last week, right?
Yeah, right. I do.
This is a metaphor that's intentional. Okay.
So get the base model, right? I can afford this. This is what my life needs to run. I have to have a car to get from point A to point B. I'm going to buy this car no matter what. This is my baseline. However, I do want to live a little bit. Now, if I go fully extravagant, if I go, instead of getting a Subaru, I go and get a Range Rover, right? And I blow all my cash doing that. Now I can't live. That's a problem.
Right.
Right. So I have to be realistic with what my base is. So my base should cover all of my bills, get everything paid, and give you a little bit of savings. And then you've got your little bit of money going into retirement, right? That's your baseline. And then, okay, let's say I want to go on a trip. Every quarter, I want to go on a different trip. I want to go to Africa one quarter. I want to go to England one quarter. I want to go to Australia another quarter. I want to go to Japan for another quarter, right? All those trips, like let's say it's going to be 2 or 3 grand for each trip. Well, if I'm living in my base And I know that on top of that base, that gives me an extra 1,000 a month that I have as discretionary. But I'm really good and I don't need to tap into it. So this is like my base includes a little bit of discretionary and me spending stuff. But if I wanted to go splurge and go buy like 15 different purses, or I wanted to go buy 20 different pairs of shoes or whatever, or like go, I don't know, go do a spa trip for $3,000 a night, right? That
Right.
that is where we get into the point of like, I want it now and I use all my money to do that. But then we don't plan for the future, even in like our today life, we don't plan for the future of, I want to go on these trips. Then we get to the point where we go to book that trip and we're like, we don't have any money to do it. Now
Right.
I feel like I'm stringent and I don't have the enough money to go and do things.
Right. Right. Or I have, somebody I know where, okay, I am going to go do that trip to Disney, and I am going to go do that trip to Italy. And then all of a sudden they find themselves in $50,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
Credit card, all on their credit card.
That's the other option, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there's a little bit of delayed gratification, a little bit of planning, you can say, okay, my base is, and I'm just going to throw random numbers out to make it easy. $2,000 is my base, right? $3,000 is me kind of having like a lot of fun, doing a lot of crazy discretionary stuff. So if I was to say, I want to go to Japan and it's going to cost me $2,000 to do it. Well, I have 3 months until I want to go there. If I saved $750 each month, I'd have more than enough for me to
Right.
go. And I would still have 250 over what my base is for me to go have a nice dinner or do something fun, go to Disneyland, I don't know, whatever you want to do. So you don't feel like you have to live completely depleted, but you still get to go do the more fun and exciting thing that you wanted to do. And that base is already including taking care of you down the future.
Mm-hmm. So
Right.
I'm curious, how do you help somebody who has a habit or history of ignoring and wanting it now?
So when it comes down to that, it's always a question of what is your why?
Yep. I agree.
Right?
Yep.
If I don't care about anything in the future, if I was dying and I knew that in a week I'm not going to wake up, would I feel bad going and spending $1,000 a day for a week?
No.
No. It doesn't matter.
No.
Right? But if I know that there's a reason that I'm putting myself, it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the reason that you go and you work out? Because you want to live a healthier life and you want to live longer, you want to be healthier, you want to do stuff with that. Your why is strong enough to get you to do that. If you don't, then you're saying that your why is not strong enough, right? So if you don't care about how much you're spending and you don't want to get yourself out of debt, that's you just saying, I don't care what happens down in the future. I don't care what happens when I'm gone.
Right. Yeah. And I do. I mean, I 100% agree with the why, and checking in on the why, making sure that it's a real why or an authentic why. Because sometimes somebody will say to me who's 27, I'm saving for my retirement. Now, again, that may be their real why. However, typically for a 27-year-old, that's not it or enough. However, if you're talking to a 50-year-old, it's a much stronger why when you say the R word.
Yeah. Well, here's my statement that I always say. You can get a loan for anything except for retirement. It's true. You can.
Yeah.
You can get a loan. People will ask you so hard to get loans, to take a loan out on stuff. But the one thing you can't get a loan for is retirement.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So that should be your why right there, right? Like,
right.
I know that the only way for me to fund my retirement, and by the way, Social Security is not going to fund your retirement. It's going to give you a baseline. It'll help you with your baseline, right? That's that like 2,000 that you can scrape by on, but you want to go travel the world, do fun things later in life. That's not going to pay for that. So we've got to make a plan. If we want to go big and go hard, You got to have a plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I, with your help, have a better plan, and delayed gratification is, more in the forefront. I did just buy a car, and of course, they want to. As soon as you buy the car, then they want to sell you a what $7,000 car extended warranty, and
warranty. Yeah.
right, yep, and saying no. I must have had to say no 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have
How
been
that make you
tired that day
feel?
because I'm usually pretty firm. Like, don't even unless the conversation has ended. I
Yeah.
did not do that for some reason. So it's just like, well, what about this? And did you consider that? And but wait, we got Ginzu knives,
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Oh man. And at some point
So
I can see how people can get beat down on it too.
yeah, you know what saying no is in
Okay, help.
a conversation with that?
What?
Saying no is a negotiation. Literally, you were in a negotiation. They thought that you needed that warranty. And they,
Yeah, or their bonus is around me saying yes to that
yes, right?
warranty.
So,
Yeah.
so their mentality is that because whenever you go into something like that, it's a negotiation of who believes what the answer is more than the other person. So the
Yeah.
answer is going to be yes, or the answer is going to be no. And the question is, do you believe the answer is no more than I believe the answer is yes?
Yeah.
Seriously, 100%. It's a mentality thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's honestly your confidence in the answer is no. And someone's going to try to negotiate and try to convince you that the answer is actually yes. Even you're misunderstanding the fact that you think the answer is
Right.
no.
Yeah.
So it's your conviction that is coming into play. And so in that circumstance, the way to really honestly shut that down is to say, hey, I completely get where you're coming from. I know that you get commission or whatever on this. However, my confidence and my conviction in the answer being no is stronger than your conviction that it's going to be yes.
Yeah.
So we can stop that right
Yeah.
now. Just save
Well,
some time.
like I say, I think I must have been on the more tired side because I'm usually pretty good at I don't want to hear it, right? No, I don't need to hear your pitch, and let's continue with signing the docs, right? I listened to
Yep.
the pitch, and I'm like, how did I get caught up in that? I say I must have just been caught off guard. It wasn't because he was cute.
Yeah, and your conviction wasn't as strong as you thought it
I
was.
guess not.
At that point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Still
So,
a no. However, it's amazing. It is. I would just I watch. I go back and replay what happened and go, "Whoa, Tanya, you are off your game."
So let me ask you this question: what made you still be able to hold on to no?
Oh, that's an easy. And this is again goes with our conversation. I had a bottom line with how much I was going to spend, and I hit that line. Right, and I wasn't willing to go over the line. Right.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I didn't have it. I could have.
Yep.
But I knew that there was a dollar amount with this purchase.
Okay, onion. Peel back
Hold on
one more layer.
and they kept it because I said I'm not gonna get a loan. I'm not going into debt. Well, we could put this on a credit card for you. You can put this on a
What's a
Subaru
credit card?
loan.
What's a credit card?
Yeah.
Credit card is debt.
Right. However, it's like we can make this easy for you to pay this. I think it was $7,000-8,000, right? Yeah. We can make it easy. It's only 3%, but wait, it's only 3%, right? But no, I knew that I was not going into debt for this vehicle, and I knew what that looked like, right? So,
but peel it back one more layer.
Yeah.
What is the why behind that?
Oh, so that I can invest money or work towards my retirement.
Okay.
I mean, I knew, like when I sold my house, I allocated funds. Right. Yep. And I allocated funds to my car. Now I could have taken funds from hey, I want to invest this amount of money with Chris and put it on my car. Yep. Right. But I didn't.
Yep. And one more time, what is the why behind that?
My retirement.
Okay. What about your retirement?
That it's more fun and less stressful.
Would you rather have the 7K in your retirement to go do something fun in retirement, or would you rather have it on your car that expires in 5 years?
Right. No, on my retirement. Easy
Right.
answer, right?
So
However,
your why was stronger than theirs.
correct. And yes. And that is being intentional with working with you, right? With, okay, this is what we want to get to when I'm 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And because of your age, it's becoming more and more real to you. I know, I'm sorry, but it's becoming more and more real.
But it's accurate. It is. It's easier
Right?
for me. We would not be having this discussion if I was 27.
Yep. A 27-year-old might have sat down at that same table and been like, fine, I'll get the warranty.
Just roll it into my
because
loan.
there's no of it being a realistic thing right now. However, the more you build out your goals, the more that you plan out like what you want it to look like. A lot of people say, I want to retire early. Great. Okay. But a lot of people don't put the planning in place to make it happen. Right. So then what happens? They end up retiring regular time, 65 or even later, because they were like, when I was 27, I didn't really think about what was necessary for me to retire early.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So you're not 60, but you're, 30 years away from that. What keeps you focused?
What keeps me focused now is honestly London. Right. And Anya will probably like bash her head against the wall if you were to ask her about this. But like there are so many times that we've sat down and we've had conversations like, we're selling our house. Great. Why are you selling your house where you've got a 2.9% interest rate? You have a great house that's going to end up being worth multi-million dollars in the future and is in California. Why are you doing that? Okay, well, because honestly, we have a good amount of debt, right? We've got a mortgage. When we make this move, we're going to have a third. I was talking to Anya about it today. We're going to have a third of the debt that we have.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to pay that off faster by making the same amount of payment that we're making right now. We could pay that debt off in a few years. Right. And we could then enter into a phase of life where before we turn 40, we have zero debt and we have a house.
Right.
You want to talk about retiring early? One of the things that keeps people working is because they got to pay their bills. Well, if you took $2 or $3 or $4 grand off the table and you didn't have to pay a mortgage, would you still keep working full time in retirement? No. Because now that Social Security check that comes in that's two grand looks a lot better than just paying off the mortgage.
Yeah. That's my biggest goal, is to have my mortgage paid off in 5 years.
Yeah. Your life changes. And then the house that we are buying is going to be in an area that is going to appreciate. At some point in time, that house will be worth over $1 million. Is it going to appreciate the same way it does in California? No, but it's going to be worth over $1 million. And at that point, if we had to, we could sell, live off of the proceeds, buy a little house that's going to be a quarter of that, and have $750 to live off of if we had to, right? If all planning went sideways.
Yeah. It is just looking at the future. And again, probably 50% of the world's population has a really hard time seeing past today.
Yeah.
Or this
week. My reason is, and I say it to Anya all the time when we have this conversation, because moving is our life right now. Like, imagine how London's going to feel when she gets to walk outside to go to the pool and it's like 15 yards away. Imagine what it's like when she gets to go to the play area that's 15 yards away. Imagine what she's going to feel like when she gets to go on all these trips because we don't have a mortgage.
Right.
Imagine what she's going to feel like when she has to want for nothing because we don't have a lot of overhead where we live.
Right. Yeah.
Right? We're not paying a bunch of taxes. Like all of these things are going to change her life. And the only reason that we're doing it is to change her life.
Yeah. Well, and your lives too.
I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's the why is her.
Right. Right. And we all have a different why, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And I do know from coaching that when people aren't in tune with their why, like seeing it, like I say, put it on your wall, see it, feel it, then they come home with a Tesla.
Yeah.
For
The only
a
thing
1,000.
that I get a helping hand in is that I literally lift up my why every single morning.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's nothing to lift up for me with retirement.
no.
Right. And so, yes, there's other things to look at and remind myself of I have to do it intentionally. But yes, it would be nice if I could lift it up something every morning. That would be awesome.
They did this cool thing where they had people wear a VR headset.
Yep.
And they programmed in a person that sat down on a bench with them that was them but aged to retirement.
Yep.
And they had a conversation with them. And the people that came out of that VR were more likely to put more money into retirement than people that had not had that experience.
That's so
Like,
cool.
made it real.
Yeah. I do ask my over 50-year-old clients, and I've done this many, many times and whittled it down to it needs to be around 50, not 22, right? And I will say to any of my clients that are over 50, your homework between now and our next coach call is on almost a daily basis for 5 or 10 minutes. Sit down and talk to your 108-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
And for my people that are younger, there's a disconnect with that.
Mm-hmm.
But over 50, you could actually touch and feel it. I can envision that age, right? It's going to happen. I mean, I never thought I'd be 60, right? If you asked me when I was living on a boat in the tropics and someone said, Tanya, what's it going to look like for you when you're 60? I'm like, that's not happening, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's different.
I need to get one of those machines from my clients.
Yeah. I literally I can't get my head to stop thinking about that eventuality. It's so present that I just want to make it happen. Once I get there to where I feel like it's humming along, then I can start to relax in my mind. That's just how I'm built.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's an AI clients do that would turn them into a 65-year-old if they put a picture in and have them literally be one part of their homework is to sit down, go on ChatGPT and send a picture in and say, hey, turn me into a 65-year-old.
And let's have a conversation.
Have a conversation with yourself. Or 70-year-old.
Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm writing that down. I'm going to try it. Because I use AI every day.
Yeah.
So try the old AI Convo. I don't know what that means. Yep. Do you use it a lot?
ChatGPT? Yeah. I mean, I search stuff every single day. And I love AI because it's and seriously just put the work on them. Find this for me. Instead of being type it in and then scroll through all the different things. I just, hey, find this for me.
Yep. Well, I did it just yesterday. I'm building a new community called The Hive. And it's going to be for real estate professionals or anything. And if anybody touches a home, so financial planner, stager, if you touch a home in one way, shape, or form,
home
this
inspector.
is your home inspector. So it's going to be called The Hive. Yes, playing off my name. And I've been looking at a platform called Mighty Networks because it's in my budget. And somebody that I was talking to about this, probably my coach, said, Mighty Networks is good. It's a little clunky. So do some more research on some other options and recommended a few. And so I put it into AI yesterday and said, okay, so I'm thinking about Mighty Networks. Give me some other options that aren't maybe quite so clunky or whatever I wrote in. And so it gave me some recommendations. We went deeper and deeper, kept asking more questions, and it's called Heartbeat. And I love it. I've got I'm trying it out. I'm using the free trial. So it was It's a great platform. So keep an eye out. It's going to be called The Hive, and
Nice.
and it's going to be a paid membership unless you're coaching with me.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So then there'll be a benefit of coaching as being in The Hive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And then actually Charlotte Harrell, the lender, she's going to be a part of it as well. So there'll be different chat rooms and pages and areas you can go in. She's going to handle any of the lending.
Cool. Different resources and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep. And we'll have workshops and classes, and we'll bring specialists in. So we'll bring in a financial planner. We'll bring in a videographer, right? I'm not going to do all the workshops on my own. I'll do some for sure. But we'll bring in specialists for areas where that's not our expertise.
Nice. Are you going to have an app and stuff too?
I will. Yes. With Heartbeat, you can download the app.
Cool.
So you can do it from your phone.
Nice.
So yes, like with Mighty Networks, someone said, yeah, the app doesn't work well. We just get frustrated. So I'm like, okay. So right at this moment, it's called the platform's going to be Heartbeat. I'm now getting a domain name.
Nice. There you go.
I thought it would be easy. Mm-mm.
What?
I type stuff in like thehive.com or the hive or the beehive or whatever. I keep typing and it's all taken. Like I never in a million years.
One thing that you also have to realize is that you don't have to have it .com.
I know it's .club is what I want. I did not know there was a .club. Yeah.
Is there .coaching or something like that?
I'd like there to be .community, but that's kind of long.
Okay.
There's a .co. So yeah, I am.
Okay.
What I need to do is throw it into ChatGPT and see if it can find me one that's not used yet.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. Oh, I got to write that down.
Action steps right there.
Yep, there we go. Homework from our life.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I love that you started the conversation around delayed gratification because I live it. We all do. There's always, oh, but wait, get this, or but wait, you don't want, I bought the middle when I bought my Subaru, right? I didn't buy the bottom. I didn't go to the top. But wait, it's only this if you get this fancy stripe on your leather kind of thing,
Yep.
And I can see how easy it is to get caught up on it. And again, I told the salesperson right when I walked on the lot, this is my budget.
Yep.
We're not going over it.
Had the same thing happen when we were building our house,
Yeah.
Like you could add everything and Anya wanted to add everything. We had to have some hard conversations. And our big thing was like where our loan that we have is going to be. And we didn't want to have a loan that was going to be over a certain threshold.
Right.
And we came in with the mindset of like, here's our hard line. We're going to have some hard conversations. There's going to be some back and forth and pushing through and all that stuff. And that's okay. But we've kind of got our limit, and we did touch over our limit. But in terms of our loan size, we didn't hit over our threshold. So we had like a monetary value of the house, of everything, and then what the loan size would be to take that into consideration. So
well, I do want to put a plug in for Anya that I was there during that tour of, hey, but wait, buy this, hey, but buy that, and they are really good at what they do. She handled it so well. I mean, I just really proud of her.
Well, because we prepared.
Yes, you were prepared, and so was she. However, I mean, they tried to unprepare her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people go into a lot saying, I'm not going to go buy the prime limited Excel model. I bet you more than 50% end up doing it, though.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I have an agenda for the rest of the day, which number one is to go put my Apple Watch on.
Awesome.
And go on. But thank you for today. Right. See you next month. And I appreciate your time.
Of course. Yeah, I appreciate your time. Glad we did it.
All right. And anybody that listens to this later, thank you. Let me end.